Alright, we have to talk about this. The Chosen might be in a little bit of trouble, and not the good kind.
Yeah. Trouble ain't bad if the bad is good.
Trouble ain't bad if the bad is good.
I said trouble ain't bad if the bad is good.
So, there's a big deal going on in the Hollywood industry right now. If you don't know and you're somehow unaware, that's completely fine because you don't have to be keeping up with everything that's going on in Hollywood. So the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, or like the AMPTP, I got that right, wow, that's crazy. They're all going on strike right now because there's been some updates in the way our society works with streaming services and TV shows and movies, and writers aren't getting enough pay. Basically it boils down to writers aren't getting enough pay for the work they're doing, like writing these TV shows, pitching these TV shows, and then once they get on streaming, the amount of millions of people that are viewing these TV shows, these writers are not getting paid nearly what they should be getting paid for these shows that are being on streaming and being viewed by all these people for free, basically. So basically, there's a lot of other complications involving like AI and stuff, but the writers are going on strike because they're demanding that the guild and the writers and the Hollywood, associates give them residuals and more money for the work they're doing for these shows, which is completely reasonable. I have a friend whose sister is like an ABC executive producer or something. She's won Emmys and stuff. So they all know people who are like writers and stuff, and they have friends in the industry, and just they're all totally in support. I'm totally in support of this going on because it needs to happen. Like these writers need to be getting what they're due for all the hard work and creative energy that they're putting into these TV shows. So, like, tons of the biggest shows of all time, like Stranger Things, Cobra Kai, Marvel stuff, tons of stuff in the industries right now just getting on hold, being pushed back because these writers are going on strike. They're refusing to, continue the development of these TV shows until these big companies give them the money that they're owed. So, how does this relate to The Chosen? Well, my friend who does have friends in the industry and stuff, I remember he asked me the other day, is The Chosen going to be affected by the writer's strike? And I said to him, I don't know. I don't know if The Chosen is a SAG show or since they're crowdfunded, if that really has to do with anything that's happening with their show. Like, I didn't know exactly how exactly The Chosen fit into all this. I assume not. I was like, well, they're crowdfunded. They don't really have anything to do with SAG, or I don't think so. So I would assume that they wouldn't be affected by the writer's strike. And I just said, well, The Chosen is usually very transparent about everything that's going on behind the scenes, and they haven't said anything about it, so I assume that they're not going to be affected by the writer's strike. That was until the other day when The Chosen said in their latest email, as some of you may have noticed in the news, there is the potential of a SAG Screen-Actors Guild strike. As we are a Screen Actors Guild show, this may affect us. This is unlikely, but in the off chance it does, it would impact these filming dates. As soon as we know more, we will immediately let you know. But until then, no news is good news, and we carry on in prayer and thankfulness. It seems like this may go until late fall, this whole Writers Guild Actors Strike thing, which is unlikely. Again, like The Chosen says, it's unlikely that's going to happen. But it seems like these big studios are not really budging. I think we're at kind of a standstill in this writer's strike right now. I believe that's what's going on. I'm not totally sure, and I don't know all the details because I'm not like in that world, but from what I've been hearing, apparently, allegedly, there's a chance that this is going to go on for a while. So what does this mean for the show exactly? It just means that production on it would halt, and I think filming doesn't really matter too much. It affects the writing and the acting, so it would be just put on hold and delayed for a little bit until all of this stuff is sorted out and all of the money is distributed evenly, which again, I'm in full support of all of this happening because I think it's necessary, because these writers are putting in so much hard work for these shows, and a lot of them are barely making enough to just make do in LA, like just barely average job, and they're making these shows that are seen by hundreds of millions of people. But also, like, there's certain things with the companies, like the companies want there to just be one writer per show. Can you imagine if we had to choose between Dallas, Ryan, and Tyler? That's apparently what studios are wanting, because then it says they have to pay the writers more. They're just saying, well, then just make it one writer, which is terrible. Apparently, that's the latest news of what's happening. That's what the studios want in this new contract, which is awful. That would mean terrible things for all of our favorite shows, especially The Chosen. So it's a very complicated issue. It's something that's been going on for a long time, and I still don't fully understand everything that's happening and everything that's involved with it. But what I do know is that the show is in slight danger. There's a little bit of a possibility that now The Chosen could be delayed. Season 4 would be delayed a little bit, but it doesn't mean it's going to be canceled, and it has nothing to do with the show itself. It just happens to do with the people who are working on it because of this whole guild of people who is all part of the writers and the actors guilds and all that stuff. They're just not going to work because they're on strike. All the people in this guild, it was like 97% of them all voted to go on strike because they need to make a statement to these big companies. We all know, I'm sure a lot of you who watch The Chosen are like, well, we don't like Hollywood. Hollywood's big and evil and corporate. And me personally, I hate corporate greed and all of these people in suits and ties and the higher-ups getting to decide what is good in cinema and film, because I believe cinema is art. And all of these big executives up high in the Hollywood industry are all people in business suits and ties who all they've been learning is how to make money and not how to make good, creative, artistic, brilliant content like The Chosen and lots of other shows. So the fact that these people get to mandate what exactly happens in TV shows, I think is gross. I don't understand how exactly all of this corporate greed got involved with making movies, besides the fact that, they're the ones who fund the whole thing. So it just kind of bothers me a little bit that, like, stuff like this has to happen. And corporate executives up at the top are saying, well, we don't want to pay you money. Like, just think of how much millions upon trillions of dollars that these movies make, especially these giant TV shows. And the fact that they would have to limit them to one writer, terrible idea. There's a lot of other complicated stuff in it. It's something that's very important to me as someone who really is into movies and all that kind of stuff, and I'm sure some of you are. So if you have heard about this SAG, Writers Guild strike, that kind of thing, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you maybe have a better idea of what's going on, maybe you can explain that down below too. But I don't think there's anything that we have too much to be worried about, but I did think it was worth noting that it should be on your radar. You should be aware of this, because I don't think a lot of people in the Chosen, I don't know how many people in the Chosen community necessarily are aware of this larger Hollywood issue, because it really doesn't have to do with the Chosen itself, it just has to do with Hollywood at large. But since I am also really heavily interested in Hollywood at large, I thought you guys should know. So just putting it on your radar, just so then if The Chosen does end up getting delayed or something like that big does happen, it doesn't catch you off guard. You're already caught up. You already know the gist of what's going on here. So that's all this video was really going to do. I promise, again, we're going to get back to the weekly breakdowns very soon. It's going to happen. And we're still going to talk about theories for The Chosen Season 4. But as of right now, this is just something that's a pretty big deal. But it might not affect The Chosen. There's a small chance that it's really going to change anything. But you never know. We'll have to see exactly what happens as this stuff moves forward and develops. So what do you think about this Writers Guild strike, all this stuff? Be sure to let me know down below in the comments. I will see you guys in my next video. Get used to different.